Good day, this is Professor Will, CBMD, PhD. Today's Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. It is 2:58 and 47 seconds a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's research, airborne viruses. So let's hop to it here. Indoors, outdoors, 6 feet apart. Transmission risk of airborne viruses can be quantified. The dynamics of how aerosols travel from one person to another under different circumstances. Date March 2nd, 2021. Source, Colorado State University. Summary. The rush for scientific understanding of the novel coronavirus has focused on biological mechanisms, how people get infected, the response of the human body, and the fastest path to a vaccine. Researchers went a different route, convening a research team that would treat the virus like any other aerosol. The research set out to quantify the dynamics of how aerosols like viruses travel from one person to another under different circumstances. The issue of whether our real-life pandemic virus, SARS-CoV-2, is airborne is predictably more complex. The current body of evidence suggests that COVID-19 primarily spreads through respiratory droplets, the small liquid particles you sneeze or cough that travel some distance and fall to the floor. But consensus is mounting that, under the right circumstances, smaller floating particles called aerosols can carry the virus over longer distance and remain suspended in air for longer periods. Scientists are still determining SARS-CoV-2's favorite way to travel. That the science was lacking on how COVID-19 spreads seemed apparent a year ago to researchers. Researchers spend time thinking about the movement and dispersion of aerosols, a blanket term for particles light and small enough to float through air, whether cigarette smoke, sea spray, or hairspray. It quickly became clear there was some airborne component of transmission. A virus is like an aerosol. Health-wise, they are different than other aerosols like pollution, but physically they are not. They float in the air, and their movement depends on their size. The rush for scientific understanding of the novel coronavirus has focused understandably on biological mechanisms, how people get infected, the response of the human body, and the fastest path to a vaccine. Researchers together created a new tool for defining how infectious pathogens, including SARS-CoV-2, transport in the air. Researchers' new tools is a metric they are calling effective rebreath volume, or simply the amount of exhaled air from one person that, by the time it travels to the next person, contains the same number of particles. Treating virus-carrying particles agnostically like any other aerosol allowed the team to make objective, physics-based comparisons between different modes of transmission, accounting for how size the particles would affect the number of particles that traveled from one person to another. The researchers looked at 3 size categories of particles that cover a biologically relevant range: 1 micron, 10 microns, and 100 microns, about the width of a human hair. Larger droplets expelled by sneezing would be closer to the 100 micron region. Each have very different air travel characteristics, and depending on the size of the particles, different mitigation measures would apply, from opening a window to increasing fresh air delivery with through an HVAC system. The researchers compiled a set of models to compare different scenarios. For example, the team compared the effective rebreath volume of someone standing outside 6 feet away. The research team found that distancing indoors, even 6 feet apart, isn't enough to limit potentially harmful exposures, because confinement indoors allows particle volumes to build up in the air. Such insights aren't revelatory, in that most people avoid confinement indoor spaces and generally feel safer outdoors. What the paper shows, though, is that the effect of confinement indoors and subsequent particle transport can be quantified, and it can be compared to other risks that people find acceptable. The researchers sought to constrain how the virus-containing particles disperse as a function of distance from the emitting person. When the pandemic hit last year, the public had many questions about whether it was safe to run or bike on trails. The researchers found that longer duration interactions outdoors at greater than 6-foot distances appeared safer than similar duration indoor interactions, even if people were further apart indoors, due to particles filling the room rather than being carried away by wind. We started fairly early on the pandemic, and we were all filled with questions about which situations are safer than others. What remains unclear is which size the particles are most likely to cause COVID infection. Viruses can be carried on droplets large and small, but there is likely a sweet spot between droplet size, ability to disperse and remain airborne, and desiccation time, all of which factor into infective potential, explain researchers. The paper includes analysis of relative infection risk of different indoor and outdoor scenarios and mitigation measures depending on the numbers of particles being inhaled. The problem we face is that we still don't know what the infectious dose is for people. Certainly the more virus present, the higher the risk of infection, but we don't have a good model to determine the dose for people. And quantifying infectious virus in the air is tremendously difficult. The team is now pursuing follow-up questions, like comparing different mitigation measures for reducing exposures to viruses indoors. Some of these inquiries fall into the category of stuff you already know, but with numbers. People are now thinking, okay, more ventilation is better, or remaining outside is better, but there is not a lot of quantification and numbers behind those recommendations. The researchers hope the team's work can lay a foundation for more upfront quantification of transmission dynamics in the unfortunate event of another pandemic. This time, there was a lot of guessing at the beginning, because the science of transmission wasn't fully developed. The researchers say there shouldn't be a next time. Good day, this is Professor Will, CBMD PhD, on microbiology, bioinformatics, and pathophysiology. I hope you enjoyed listening. Until next time, have a great day.